This is a Lunar Delta Ti. Just going to take you around the caravan and show you how it operates. Front of the van you have the hitch, jockey wheel and handbrake, and you also have the connection to the car there as well, and the ATC light. This will be explained and demonstrated to you in a separate video. Bulkhead of the caravan, you have your gas regulator and gas shut-off valve, which is the yellow valve you see on the right hand side of the regulator. That will connect to the bottle via a propane pipe, and then you can tie down two 6 kilogram propane bottles in the front of the caravan itself. Come around to the side of the caravan, you've got your Aldi heating flue, so essentially that's your gas flue for the heating and hot water. You then have your leg winder on either side at the front to stabilise the caravan. You would never lift the caravan with the legs underneath the van. They are just for stabilising it when you are using the van on site. Coming up next, we have the water pump connection, as you can see, going into the aqua roll. I'll explain how you fill the system once we get inside the caravan. But that is essentially how you would connect it up to the caravan. Water pump into the barrel, and then the blue tab that you see just on the bottom part of the water pump, just here, is the release trigger for pushing it in and out and pulling out from the side of the van. Next we have the battery box for the caravan. So you've got your two power leads coming in, your negative and your positive coming into the van, and then you have your mains power lead coming in also to the left hand side of that, and you'll connect that to the power supply on site. The wheel nuts will be torqued before the caravan leaves site here. It's 120 Newton meters for each wheel nut. Do advise you buy yourselves a torque wrench. The reason for that being then every time before you travel you can just check the wheel nuts are still tight. They shouldn't come loose, but it is just worth checking on every time you travel. Water that goes in the front of the van, as you see there with the aqua roll, has to come out somewhere, and that's what these grey waste pipes are here for. So essentially your waste master will go down next to the van, and you'll have your two grey waste pipes that drop down into the tank itself. At the back here we have the toilet flush tank. You'll put 3.5 litres of fresh water in here and a cap full of the pink fluid. And then at the bottom we have our toilet waste cassette, which you'd put 1 litre of water in and a cap full of the blue fluid. You can release it by pulling up the orange handle and pulling the cassette towards you. This neck here turns out so you can tip the waste away. And on the back of this cassette you also have an orange pressure relief button so that you can tip, when you are tipping the waste away out of that cassette, it doesn't spit and splatter back at you. Back of the van, on either side, you've got the wind down leg on this side and on the other side of the van also. You'll also notice there's a bit of pipe work coming down there. That is the breather for the Aldi heating system. Come around to this side of the van, you've got your storage locker. That allows you to access the storage underneath the bed. Simply does it with the key, the door key. You just twist the locks and they will lock that locker up when the door's up. It will allow it to be locked. The two vents you see on the side of the caravan are the fridge vents, and the one above is for the microwave unit. So the two vents here that you can see, the top one here will have a gas flue coming out of it as well for the gas operation of the fridge, but it's essentially to let heat out the back of the fridge unit. Going further along, at the front of the van, you've got a wet storage locker. So essentially if you've got wet boots, for instance, and you've been out for the day and you want to put them somewhere so they're not left outside, but you don't want to bring them in the van, you could potentially put your boots in there, or a wet jacket, for instance, if you're travelling home. Underneath that grey flap there is actually a 3-pin socket to allow power to come out to the awning. The cover at the front is a barbecue gas point. There's a brass fitting that you can push into place and connect to your barbecue gas point that will run off the gas bottles in the front of the caravan. You'd need to turn the bread handle 90 degrees to allow the gas to flow through to the pipe, to the cooking or light system that you're using. Coming inside the caravan now, you will notice when I come inside that I've actually already got water connected to the van. So as you can see, we have full water on board. What I'm going to demonstrate first is how to turn on the caravan. So you've got your master power switch just here that you're going to need to turn on first. You've got your awning light, your internal lights, and your water pump switch just here. At the top, you've got your voltmeter. It says water as well. It doesn't actually do both on this particular van. It is just a voltmeter for the battery itself. You've got your water pump run here. You've got your main water pump switch here that turns on the water pump to start with, and then you've got your run for the internal and external pumps. I will explain those to you in a second. Before we do anything and before we fill the water system, you're first going to come over to each tap and open all the taps up on the hot side. So you'll be able to see a H on there. You'll open all the taps up on the hot side before you turn on any water pump on board the van. So that's the tap in the kitchen, the tap in the bathroom, and the tap on the shower as well. Once they're all open, you can come back to the control panel down the front here, or sorry, underneath the seat on the right hand side of the van, and you'll need to make sure that the yellow valve that is underneath this seat, which you can see just there in the video, is parallel with the floor before you start filling the water system. If that valve was pointing upright towards the bottom of the seat, it would actually drain all of the water straight back out the bottom of the caravan. And if you're going to use the onboard water tank for the caravan, which I'll explain to you in a second, or how to fill the onboard water tank, you would also need to make sure that the blue plunger that you see just there is located in the hole, as you can see here. If I pulled that up, it actually drained down the underslung water tank from underneath the van. If you're going to leave this van parked up in cold weather, I would advise that you drain all of the water off the caravan. So that means releasing this bung just here and undoing the yellow valve that you see on the opposite side, so it's upright towards the bottom of the seat, and opening all of the taps up in the central position so all water comes back out of them. So sorry to divert there onto the draining down, but however, we do need to explain that to you. To fill the water system, you're going to come over to the control panel just here, and if you want to fill the internal tank, you're first of all going to need to put this pump onto the internal side, which you see here, which will allow you to fill the water system on board the van. Once the water system is full, you'll notice that you have water coming out of each tap continuously, but to start with, it will spit and splatter like when the water has been off at home, for instance. It will do a similar sort of thing. When the water's running freely out of each pipework, you can then turn all of the taps off or turn them off so there's no water coming out, and then you can turn the water pump switch over to the external pump, which will allow the water system to run on board the caravan. Once you've got the system filled, you can just leave the switch in the external position, leave the water pump on, and every time you turn on a tap, it will draw water up to each tap on board the caravan. So once you've got the water system filled, you can then proceed to start warming the water on board the caravan. Now, as you can see, the Aldi control panel is on at the moment. So let me come across here and make that flash. There's some options at the bottom that we do advise you read the manual for, because if I went through them in the video, it'd probably take about 3 hours to explain. So at the moment, the heating and hot water control panel is on. You can stop the heating and hot water working altogether when the icon here in the corner is flashing, whether it be on or off, as you can see. So now I've turned it off, the heating and hot water is off. Let me turn that back on. I'll use the arrows then to come across to the room temperature. So I'll press the arrow across. As you can see, we're at 28 degrees at the minute. We've got down or up to set the internal temperature of the caravan. Come across again to the right, and we've got water heating on. So I can turn the water heating on by going on or off, depending on where we wish it to be. If we come across to the right again, we've got the option to run on gas, on or off. So again, on or off. It will self-ignite on gas. There is nothing you need to do to make it ignite apart from turn on the gas bottle. Come across to the right again, and we've got mains power coming into the caravan. Now, as you can see there, it says 1 at the moment, which relates to 1 kilowatt of power coming into the caravan. If I go up, you'll see it changes between 1 and 2, or if I go down completely, it turns off. Normally on most sites, you'll be run on 1 or 2 kilowatts. As I said, the options down the bottom here that you can see, the best idea for that is to have a read of the manual, because like I said, if I went through it in the video, it would take quite a while. In this top right hand corner, you've got an icon to let me know that we've got mains power coming into the caravan. So that's your heating and hot water control panel. Next up, I'm going to come to the fridge. Fridge is very simple to use. So with the fridge, you've got power button down the bottom here. So if I just turn it off, you've got power on. You'll notice it comes up with 4 different symbols here and a couple here. I'll explain those in a second. The plug symbol you see here is 240 mains power coming to into the caravan and working the fridge unit. Control the temperature on gas or mains by using the button on the right hand side. If you wish to change the power source, you can press the button on the left hand side and you'll notice it goes over to auto 240 volt. If I press it again, it'll go to 12 volt for when you're towing, so the fridge works as a cool box. It's coming up with 10 at the moment here at the top. It's coming up with an error code to say I'm not connected to a car, as you can see. Press the button again and it will go over to gas operation. On gas, it will self-ignite. At the moment we haven't got gas connected, as you saw in the front locker. So in a moment it will come up with an error code 9 and a spanner symbol just to let me know it has failed to ignite. At that point, if it does ever do that, I'd advise you go over to the hob, bleed the hob of gas, so essentially light the hob and let the gas come through on the hob. Then you can again try to reignite the fridge itself on gas. Turn the fridge off, press and hold the power button, and that will turn off. Up above we've got the microwave and cooker, one of them cooker units. So again you can use that microwave, sorry. This one is just a sole microwave. Control it on the front as you'd expect to see. The last thing internally on the caravan we're going to go to is the toilet system. Fill it from the outside, as I said earlier in the video. Electric flush just here. And at the bottom you've got your toilet waste handle, which you'd need to open up to allow the waste to go into the toilet cassette itself. When you are emptying the toilet cassette, you will need to make sure the toilet is pointing straight across the caravan towards the shower unit, because it does turn for your convenience. However, when you are taking out the cassette, it needs to be straight across. If not, it will lock the toilet cassette in place and you will not be able to release it. If you did manage to release it, you may have broken the toilet cassette itself. So that is the Lunar Delta Ti. If you have any further questions on the caravan, please don't hesitate to give us a call here at the Caravan Company and we'll be more than happy to help. Thank you for watching and enjoy the caravan.